You can cost yourself over $200,000 in the next market crash or not. It's up to you, because a market crash is 100% coming, a genuine 35% or more bite out of the index type of crash. And you can't do anything to stop it from arriving, but you can do something to survive it. 3 things, actually. And those 3 things can be the difference between you coming out just fine or coming out over $200,000 down. But you have to do all 3. Just like Sarah, she's 34, manages a restaurant, and makes $54,000 a year. She's got $45,000 invested, which puts her almost exactly at the median for her age. Start with how ordinary this is. Ned Davis Research counts 27 bear markets in the S&P 500 since 1928. That's one about every 3.5 years. The average one takes about 35% off the index and lasts about 9.5 months. Sarah's been investing for 13 years, so she's seen 3 or 4 of these already. Here's the part that decides your number. Hartford Funds tracked the market's best single days from 1996 through 2025. 48% of them landed while the market was in a bear market. Another 28% landed in the first 2 months of a recovery. 76% of the best days arrive while everything still feels terrible. And here's something that should make you pay attention. The worst days live in the same weeks as the best ones. Ben Carlson ran it both directions, dodged the 25 worst days since 1990, and $1,000 turns into $240,000 instead of $40,000, but missed the 25 best days, which is what actually happens to people who try, and you're back where you started. So the villain here isn't the crash, it's the 3 things you did or didn't do, and the one that most people get wrong can cost you over $100,000 by itself. We'll get to that shortly. This means the question everyone asks is the wrong one, not when does the crash hit. You can't know that. The real question is which 3 decisions you've already made before it arrives. Most people make these decisions during the crash, which is the problem. Back to Sarah and her $45,000 portfolio. She also makes a $400 monthly contribution each month. Step 1 happens now, while nothing is wrong. 3 pieces to step 1. The first is Sarah keeping $9,000 in cash, outside the market, in a high-yield savings account paying about 3.8%. That money has one job, and it isn't earning, it's insurance. Without it, a layoff during a crash forces Sarah to sell at the worst price available, and no plan survives a forced sale. The second is what she owns, broad index funds, not individual stocks. An index recovers because it's diversified. A single company doesn't get that. Ask anyone who held pets.com. The third is small, and it's the one almost nobody does. Sarah keeps 5% of her portfolio as cash. This is money she's allowed to invest during a crash. On $45,000, that's $2,250. Write that number down. It's about to do something absurd. The crash starts quietly in month 1, and nobody announces it. By month 6, the index is down about 18%, and the headlines have moved from correction to crisis. By month 12, it's down 35.24%, the average of those 27 bear markets, and Sarah's $45,000 is worth $29,142. So what do you do at $29,142? That's step 2. Sarah's smart and does nothing. She stays in the market, keeps the $400 monthly contribution going. It sounds like the easiest step, and it's the one that breaks people, because doing nothing while your balance falls by a third doesn't feel like a decision. It feels like negligence. But her $400 is buying shares at 65 cents on the dollar now, and every month she keeps it running, she buys more of the same thing for less. Step 3 is the one almost nobody commits to. She takes her $2,250 and she doesn't dump it in the market. She splits it into 4 pieces of $562.50 and buys in months 9, 10, 11, and 12. She isn't calling the bottom. She's spreading her buys across where the average says it might be, which is the right way to do it, because the bottom is only ever visible afterward. What did those 4 buys actually get her? At month 9, the index sat at 74 cents on the dollar. Month 10, 71 cents. Month 11, 68 cents. Month 12, 65 cents. $2,250 bought $3,260 of pre-crash market. She paid 69 cents for a dollar. Now run it forward with 3 Sarahs. The market bottoms at month 12 and takes 2 more years to get back to its old high. 3 years, peak to peak, which is roughly the historical pattern. At month 36, Smart Sarah, who did all three things, has $66,017. Cautious Sarah, and most people are cautious Sarah, stayed in the market but stopped her $400 contribution for 18 months and has $53,290. Panicked Sarah, who sold at the bottom, sat in cash, and waited for the recovery before getting back in, has $37,317. Same crash, same salary, same starting balance, a $28,700 spread, before the market has done anything except return to where it started. What's a $28,700 head start worth over the next 22 years? That's the beginning of the story, not the end of it, because now all three Sarahs do the identical thing for 22 years. Same $400 a month, same market, same 10% a year, and that $28,700 gap doesn't shrink. It compounds. At 45, Smart Sarah and Panicked Sarah are $61,520 apart. At 50, $99,078. At 55, $159,567. Where does 18 months of decisions land at 59? Smart Sarah, who did all three things right, has $895,565. Cautious Sarah, who stayed invested but stopped contributing, has $791,966. Hold on to this one because we're coming back to it. Panicked Sarah, who sold and waited, has $661,943. And remember the $2,250. 4 buys made in some of the worst 4 months of her investing life are worth $26,541 of that final balance. She turned $2,250 into $26,541 by spending it at the only moment it felt wrong to spend it. 11.8 times her money for the price of not flinching. $233,622 between the top and the bottom, on the same paycheck, in the same crash, from 3 decisions made across about 18 months. Read that again. Nothing after month 36 was different. All 3 invested the same amount in the same fund on the same day of the month for 22 years. The entire $233,622 is $28,700 compounding. Add up every dollar Smart Sarah ever put in. $45,000 to start, $120,000 of contributions across 25 years, and the $2,250, $167,250 of her own money. The market covered the other $728,315. Now go back to cautious Sarah because she's the one this video is actually about. She did nothing wrong. She never sold. She never panicked. She looked at a market down 35%, looked at her own account, and decided that feeding money into a falling asset was reckless. So she paused her $400, not forever, 18 months until things settled down. 18 payments, $7,200. She didn't invest. What would you guess that cost her? $103,598. That's 44% of what full panic costs, nearly half the damage of selling everything at the bottom, and she never sold a single share. Nobody in her life would call that a mistake. She wouldn't call it a mistake. She'd call it being careful. That's the careful mistake, and it's the most dangerous thing in this video because it's the only one that feels responsible while you're making it. Panic announces itself. Pausing doesn't. $103,598 arrived without a single moment that felt like a decision. You just stop, and nothing happens. And nothing happening is exactly what it costs you. So how many months would you have gone quiet? Back to the top, over $200,000, and whether it's yours or not. Yours won't be $233,622. Yours is your balance, your monthly amount, and the number of months you'd go quiet. Run it tonight. Take what you have invested, cut it by 35%, and ask yourself honestly how long you'd stop contributing while you looked at that number. That's the real answer. Not whether you can predict a crash. Nobody can. Whether your 3 decisions are already made. So which of the 3 would you actually skip? Not the one you'd like to say, the one you'd really skip. Put it in the comments because the honest answer is usually the 3rd one. If this is the kind of plain talk and simple explanations you like, you know where the subscribe button is. Now, knowing how to survive a crash is useless if your money isn't working hard enough before the crash hits. Watch Your Money Earns an Hourly Wage. At $100,000, it's $3.37 per hour. It's on the screen. Remember, this isn't personal financial advice. It's information so you can build your own plan. See you on the next one.